For parents, summer can be the time when screen use for your children is at its worst. Kids are already doing 8 hours and 39 minutes average entertainment screen time in the US each day. That doesn't include school-based screen time in the summer. It often goes much higher, right? Because there's nothing else to do. But summer can also be an opportunity to reset the screen habits. That's what I'm going to talk to you about now. I'm Dr. Johann D'Souza, clinical psychologist, screen time expert, here to help you and your family. In a way, summer is easier than the school year because your children don't have the same school year excuses. For example, I need the screens to use it for my homework, or we need a smartphone to be able to coordinate all the extracurricular apps. In addition, you can use the context shift of the summer break as a way of establishing new habits, new rules, making an announcement, starting from scratch. You can build up that momentum throughout the summer and then come into the next school year much stronger. So think of the summer as a strategic reset window, because if you don't, what's going to happen is children are going to use much more screen time and they're going to be just mentally destroyed by the time they get into the school year. Not just because they're unmotivated, but also because their brains have atrophied from not having to practice self-control and focus. Let's think about the summer screen time strategy as being 3 phases with some overlap. First phase, detox. Second phase, rebuild. Third phase, solidify. So let's go through each of these in detail. The detox. Let's start with a toxic screen use fast, complete abstinence from it. You start with having a family meeting. Hey, school's out. This is a great opportunity for us. We're going to have a great summer. We're going to lay out a little bit of a new plan here. So first of all, that means no toxic screen use, no video games, no social media, no smartphones, no doom scrolling, no Netflix and shows. Well, we can watch shows together as a family. We can watch a family movie. This is not a punishment. This is an opportunity for us to give you a real summer, for you to enjoy a real summer, a real childhood. And I understand if you may be upset. That's okay. We're going to move forward with this anyways. That's it. Be firm, be clear, be united with your spouse. So during this first week, you can probably notice different stages. Maybe at first there's a rebelliousness. You might even notice tantrums on an extreme level if you have little kids or older kids who are that immature. Over time, they're going to shift more to boredom, apathy. This is good. This builds into what we call a creative helplessness, which is when we become so bored and we realize there's no way out of it. That leads to creativity, to finding other ways to use time. The pattern is predictable. With any behavior change like this, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's okay. Stay strong. And also, you have to keep yourself off the hook for having to solve their boredom. You don't have to solve their boredom as a parent. It's okay for them to be bored. If you don't try to solve it, they'll figure something out. We've talked about the detox phase. Now let's get into rebuild. The idea here is that we're not just getting rid of the negative, we're restoring and bringing in the positive. So with the rebuild phase, we want a good routine, a good structure. It starts with the morning routine. That means child waking himself up at a reasonable hour, making his bed, getting dressed, and not just wearing pajamas the whole day, coming down, eating a breakfast, making a plan for the day, doing some morning chores. Once the day is started, the schedule can look like having some physical activity every day, having some creative activity, arts and crafts, hobbies, having some intellectual activity like reading, study, just for fun, even if it's not for school, actually, especially if it's not for school. And of course, unsupervised free play. What makes childhood childhood? The evening time is going to look like family dinner together. What a wholesome activity that is. Spend some time with the family afterwards, like maybe with board game or sharing about each other's days. And then when it gets dark, we turn to books or bed. They read or go to sleep. In terms of building discipline and responsibility, it is very important to have a consistent bedtime and wake-up time, even during the summer. Whenever you say your child saying, I'm bored, what you should interpret that as is your child saying, Mom and Dad, I lack responsibility and I want to do more chores around the house. Give them more to do. Take some things off your plate, put it on their plate. If they still complain of being bored, drop them off at a nursing home or a homeless shelter and say, we'll pick you up in a couple hours. What better way to spend their time than bringing joy to another person's life? Of course, it's even better if they can get a job outside the house, especially for teens. If you live in an area where they can get a real job at a grocery store, then that's good. Now they have someone else who's their boss telling them what to do, giving them responsibility, helping them see how hard it is to earn a dollar. Sometimes it's difficult if there's age limits, but they can start their own business. They can mow lawns, they can paint houses, they can have pressure washing companies. They can sell popsicles. These are all real ideas I've heard from former teenagers. The other positive activity you can facilitate is in-person events. Having your children invite their friends over. The major rule is don't bring a device. And other than that, open door policy. If they're decent friends and you keep the fridge stocked, keep the pantry stocked, people walking in and out of the house doesn't have to be completely clean. Part of life is the messiness. And it's much better a trade-off than having a kid addicted to a screen. This takes us to the solidify phase. This is where the positive activities are in place and we're just solidifying the habits, establishing a new baseline. So that when we get into the school year, they already have a good positive start and they don't miss the screens because now a habit has been built up. And they see how rich life is with real life activities that are not screen based. If you have the courage and prudence to make these changes, you will notice a change. I'm going to read you a testimonial from a lady I know, a mom I know, who made this change after hearing one of my talks. So this is what she said. We implemented that shift and the results have been profound. Our younger children now play more freely and creatively, spend more time outdoors, and no longer ask for screens. One has even discovered a love of reading, completing several books in recent months. Our evenings of reading together have deepened their attention and strengthened our family in tangible ways. That's what can happen to you and your family if you protect your children from toxic screen use. If you're still not convinced, check out my free guide here below, the 4 critical moments that most parents miss. If you want me to speak at your event, your church, your school, your community, please reach out to me. I'm very happy to do this. I'm Dr. D'Souza. I'll see you in the next video.